So good morning student. To continue with the yesterday's video, let us continue today also the basic accounting terms. So till in the last video I have explained about various terms, and liabilities was the last term that I have explained in the last video. So next term is assets. Now what is assets? Assets are those goods which we purchase and we use it for many years, and when you use it for many years we derive benefits out of that. That means we purchase those goods to use it so that we can derive benefits out of that. So for assets I will take an example of machines that we use in the factory. Now this machine is an assets. This machine is an assets. Now why we call it assets? Because a factory will use it for 10 to 12 years, and during these 10 to 12 years he will produce lots of goods. He will produce lots of goods, and by selling those produce into the market he will earn profit. That means he is using machines to produce goods, and which is giving him the benefits of profit. So that is why it is called fixed assets. That is why it is called assets. And now let us see that other assets also I can tell, like other assets are cash. Cash is also assets. The cash that is deposited into account in the bank are also assets. Likewise, many assets are there. Plant that is factory. Once the plant is built, it continues for 20, 25 years, 30 years like that, according to the material that he is using. So different plant, different machines, there are different tools. Tools are also there, that once we buy the tools, we use it for longer period of time. Then furniture. These are the things that we buy and we use it for the longer period of time, and this gives us benefits. So these are called as assets. Next, these assets are divided into various groups. That is fixed assets, current assets, tangible assets, intangible assets, waste assets, liquid assets. Now what is fixed assets? So I will write here the examples of assets, that is machines, furniture, vehicles, tools, then cash, then bank, and many others are there. So these are the few examples of assets. Now let's talk about the fixed assets. These are the assets which you use for the longer period of time. So if we see that here it is machines, furnitures, vehicles and tools. These are the things that is machines, furniture, tools, vehicles, then plant. Right here plant. Here plant means factory. So these are the things which we buy it, a businessman buys it and use it for the longer period of time. So this is known as fixed assets. Now what are current assets? These are the assets which gets exhausted within the period of 1 year. For example, cash, bank, then debtors, bills receivable, etc. etc. So these are current assets. Why we call them as the current assets? The cash which the business has, it will be used within a period of 1 year. Whatever the money he has in his current account, he will use it within the 1 year. A little balance may be left at the end of the year, but at the beginning of the year, whatever the cash he has in his cash counter or in the bank, he will use it within the period. A new cash will be formed by the end of the years. Cash will be formed. Next is debtors. Now what is debtors? A businessman, when he does business, he doesn't sell everything in cash. It is not possible for the business to continue business with only cash. In that case, his business will not expand. So he will sell it into credit also. Now that depends on the businessman whom he want to sell the goods into in credit. So the businessman, whatever he sold out the goods in credit, the persons, those who bought the goods in credit, they are called the debtors of the business, because the business is supposed to get the money from those people, and those people are known as debtors of the business. Whatever amount he is supposed to get, that is called debtors. So this debtors is a current assets, because every year the new debtors will be created and it will be cleared. Now if I purchase, suppose I want to open up a business and I cannot buy all the goods in cash, since I do not have sufficient cash. So I went to a seller and bought certain goods on credit. Now whatever amount of goods I bought on credit, that I am supposed to pay off within the 1 year period of time. So for the business, whatever amount that I am required to pay him is known as debtors. Next is bills receivable. Now bills receivable is a different bit, it is similar but a bit different from the debtors. Suppose a businessman sold 1 lakhs worth of goods to Mr. Suppose this business is A, and he sold 1 lakh worth of goods to Mr. B. But he cannot keep on selling the goods simply on credit, because he needs money. So in that case, what he will do? He will prepare an agreement. He will prepare an legal agreement. It is legal agreement, and this agreement is made between sellers and the buyers. This agreement is made between the buyers and the sellers. Now in this agreement, it will be agreed that the points, I am simply saying it, although there are lots of clauses and clauses are there, but I will explain it in very simple. seller sold 1 lakh worth of goods to B. So in this agreement it will be written that seller called so and so with his name has sold 1 lakh of goods to Mr. B, and Mr. B needs to repay the amount to the seller within 6 months. It may vary, the month may vary. Vary, that is decided between buyers and the sellers. So once this agreement is prepared and signed by both the parties, it is regarded as a negotiable instrument. Negotiable instrument. It acts just like an check. It is regarded as a negotiable event and it is treated just like a check. Once we get the check, we go to the bank and then get the payment from the bank. So this agreement is also regarded as a negotiable instrument. So the sellers, if he needs money, he may take this bill, go to the bank and discount it from the bank. That means go to the bank just like the check. That we get it, we go to the bank and encash it. Similarly, the sellers also will take this, if he is in need of money, then he will take this agreement and he will go to the, which is called as a bill, will go to the bank and encash it. So this is created, as you can see here I have written 6 months. So this type of agreement is created and which is to be paid off, which is to be paid off within years, within 1 year. So this bill for the business, for the party A, it is bills receivable, since he is supposed to get the amount of the bill. And for B, that is buyers, this agreement, the same agreement is treated as a bills payable, since he needs to pay the amount. So I think it is clear what is BR and what is BP. Now BR is the current assets and BP is current liabilities. For A, this bill is current assets. For B, this bill is current liabilities. So BR is the current assets. Next is tangible assets. Tangible assets are those assets which can be seen or touched. So this is what it is, tangible assets. So tangible assets are those assets which can be seen, which can be touched. For example, if I see here, these machines, furniture, plant, tools, vehicles, then cash. These are the things which can be seen and or can be touched. So they are called tangible assets. Now intangible assets are those assets which cannot be seen or touched. Cannot be seen or touched. These are called intangible assets. Now intangible assets is goodwill, patents, copyright, these are the things which are intangible assets. Now, what is goodwill? What is goodwill? Goodwill is nothing but the reputation of the organization. It's nothing but reputation of organizations. Now, how the firm earns reputations? The firm can earn reputations with a very good services, with a very good quality of products at a reasonable price, the behavior of the owner, the presentations, all these things creates the reputations of the firm. Now these reputations is evaluated in terms of money. Why it is evaluated in terms of money? Because this goodwill ultimately, if an organization or a business centers is very reported, and you will see that his sales at the end of the year is higher than the other businesses. Why? Because it's because of his reputation. That reputations increases his sale volume, and this as the sale volume increases, he gets more profit. So that is why goodwill, although we cannot see the reputation, we cannot touch the reputation, still it is called as assets because it gives benefits, more benefits to the organizations. We will take an example. If we go to the market, suppose you have gone to the market to buy a shirt, and let me take an example. Suppose there is a two shop. One is John Player showroom, and another is a simple business organization who deals in cloths or shirts, trousers, all these things. So he is not a particular showroom. He collects all the clothes of various brands and then he is doing business. Now a customer. Now there is a customer and he wants to buy a shirt. Which institute he will prefer? Which business center he will prefer? Obviously he will prefer the John Player, because he knows the reputations of the John Players. He knows that the product of the John Player is very good, and here I have a John Player showroom, so I'll go to the John Player showroom for buying a shirt instead of going to this shop. Although these shops may have the product of John Player, still the customer, they may have doubts or they may not believe to that extent that they are believing the John Player. So this is the role played by the goodwill. Patents. There is a patents also. I'll explain. The patents is a kind of thing, like I'll tell you. Let me take an example. If you go to a medicine shop, let me take an example of medicine shop. Medicine shop, and there is not only one medicine shop, and even if you go to the one medicine shop and ask for medicines for the fever, they may produce 3-4 different types of paracetamol tablets. 3 or 4 different, more than 4 generally, I am taking 3 examples, 3 different company of paracetamols. He will provide you 3 different types of paracetamols if you go and inquire in any medical shops. Now these paracetamol tablets, if you look behind its ingredients or its composition, then you will see the chemicals that are used to prepare these tablets are of different quantities. No two tablets you will find, no two tablets have the same type of compositions, chemical compositions as well as the quantity. So this is what it is, patents, because every organizations, every pharmaceutical company, when they produce their product, when they produce the medicine, whatever chemical compositions that they find out through the research, and there they spend lot of money to do this research. So once they find out the chemical compositions of certain medicines, they go to the court and they legally bind those compositions with them, so that others may not copy the same compositions. And if at all any other company, if they do not go for the patents, what will happen? The company will invest money, spend lot of money, they will discover a new composition for a medicines, and once it is out in the market, the other pharmaceutical companies may copy the same components and they will produce the same medicine. Now, what will be the difference between these two medicines? There will be a difference between the cost. Since the company A, he spent lot of money to find the compositions, whereas the company B, he did not spend much money in the research and development, and did not pay much money means he didn't at all paid any money in the research and development. Simply he copied the chemicals and produced the medicines. So obviously the company's A's medicine will be costlier than the company's B medicines, and company where A will be in loss. So to protect themselves, the company A, to protect himself from the loss, what he will do? He will legally bind it, he will patent it. So this is what it is known as patent. Copyright, you will see that in your book, every publications, there you will find a symbol of like this, C in a circle. This means copyright. That means every publications, if you take out the book and you will see the writing materials, you will find that the reading materials are different in every books. That means one publication that he published a book cannot be copied by another publication. So this is known as intangible assets. Now waste assets. The assets which exhaust after use are called waste assets. That means these are the assets, once you use it, you cannot reuse it, although they are called as assets. They are like coal mines and oil field. So these are the oil wells or oil field. These are the waste assets. Why we call it waste assets? Because once you use the coal from the coal mines, you cannot reuse it. It will get exhausted after certain period of time. So it is called as a waste assets. Next is liquid assets. The most liquid assets is cash. Cash is regarded as the most liquid assets because cash is an asset. With cash we can buy anything at any moment, at any time, any moment. So it is called the liquid assets. Next is receipts. Receipts means whatever the money, whatever the amount a business earns by selling goods or services. Whatever the business earns the money by selling goods or services is known as receipt. Now what is capital receipts? If he receives the huge amount for one time huge amount that he receives is known as capital receipts. For example, I have a land as well as a building on it. Now if I sell this land and building, I'll get the money, and that money will be a huge money, and I will get that money one time, only once. So this is known as capital receipts. Now revenue receipts, the revenue word came from, revenue means recurring. That means spontaneously, continuously you are getting the money. How can we get the money continuously every day? For example, a businessman, when he set up a business and he starts business, every day he will sell something or something and he will get the money continuously. So that selling money that he is getting is known as revenue receipt. Another example I will take, suppose I have invested money into the bank. So every month I am getting the interest. So this interest is revenue receipts because every month I am getting it. Next is expenditure. Now, cash given for purchase of assets, goods or services, those are called expenditure. Now, to buy some goods or to buy some assets or to get a service, if you are paying something, that is known as expenditure. Now let's come to the capital expenditure. What is capital expenditure? Suppose you spent money and bought a house, a home for yourself. Now that home that you bought, you are spending money once, but that amount is not small amount, it's a huge amount. So if you are spending huge amount once and using it for a longer period of time, that money that you spent for getting the house is known as capital expenditure. Now what is revenue expenditure? Revenue expenditure, I will give example. Suppose you took a house for rent to do the business. Now every month what you will do? You will pay the rent. If you keep staff in your business, salesmen, for example salesman you kept in the business to sell the products. Now this salesman you have to pay every month the salary. So that the expenditure, here we can see that it is recurring in nature. Continuously every month you are paying. So that is known as revenue expenditure. Third is deferred revenue expenditure. Now what is deferred revenue expenditure? Let me take an example. Suppose a mobile company, he started producing a mobile. He discovered through research and development a new model of mobile, and which is very efficient. Now once he discovers these new mobiles and he starts producing, he will start advertising through the TV, through the newspaper, through pamphlet, through hoardings. He will start advertisement of the model, whereas the model is still under productions and it is not reached in the market. So from that point of time, he will start advertising in the market. And he will continue this advertisement for few months, or it could be for a few years. Now what will happen? This mobile, once it is in the market, before it reaches the market, by that time the customer will come to know about the mobile. So they will be prepared to buy the mobile. They will prepare themselves, and once it is in the market, they will start purchasing the mobile. So this advertisement, it is a huge expense which the company does. But the thing is that why this advertisement amount that he spent is known as deferred revenue expenditure. Now I'll explain why it is called deferred revenue expenditure. Because this advertisement, whatever he did, these advertisements is already fitted into the mind of the people. Several people. Some customers, they will buy immediately the mobile, it comes up, they will buy mobile immediately, it exists in the market, it gets supplied in the market. But few customers may be there which who may not be able to buy the product that year. So what he will do? He will prepare the customer, he will prepare a budget and he will check his budgets and he will start saving money so that he can buy next year. Some they will save money, so they will make a target of buying these sets in the third year. So that way, now these advertisements, one, it is set in the mind of the people then he will stop these advertisements. So this expenditure, whatever he did in the very first year, this advertisement will keep growing his sale every year, and it will be for another, this advertisement will work for another 2 to 3 years. That means what? The expenses which he made in the first year will help the mobile company, to earn profit 2 to 3 years or earn revenue 2 to 3 years. So what this owner will do, these advertisements he will not adjust the whole amount in a single year. Instead, he will divide this advertisement into several number of years. So this is what it is known as deferred revenue expenditures. Thank you, students.